Hey everybody, I would like to welcome you to our first episode of the LinkedIn Champion, or the LinkedIn Game Plan. And today we're going to be talking with a guest. As always, I'm joined by our host, Rhonda Schur, the LinkedIn Diva. And Rhonda, why don't you explain a little bit about what we're going to be covering and introduce everybody to our guest?
Great, great. Thanks, Scott. So today I actually have Jay Talbert, who is one of the branch managers of Bank Home Loans and a client, on the call today. And Jay and I met in a very unique way. I was going to an expo of realtors, and I've always said I get lost in a two-car garage, and there I was in the parking lot going into this event and had no idea where it was going to be, what door it was going to be in, and saw Jay in the parking lot and stopped him and just basically said, "You look like somebody that is coming from the real estate event. Are you a real estate agent?" And he told me who he was, that he was a branch manager for Bank Home Loans, and I mentioned to him that I was a LinkedIn expert. And that led to an amazing conversation in the parking lot where Jay literally took out his notepad and started taking notes. And where that led was a LinkedIn invitation from me to Jay, which opened up a dialogue and a relationship that went from offline, a parking lot, to online. So with that, I would like to just let Jay introduce himself, and then we can come back and talk a little bit about what kinds of things Jay is doing with LinkedIn, how the profile really has made a difference, and really take this to a level where other people that are in the real estate industry can see the real value of LinkedIn, why you need a profile, how to use it, and some of the tips and tricks that most people are not taking advantage of. So Jay, why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you? I'm so happy to have you on this Google Hangout.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate the invitation. My name is Jay Talbert. I'm the branch manager for Bank Home Loans in San Diego, and in the process of building a great team to serve the real estate community's needs. And one of the things that I think we all need to do, both in our industry and in most, is really understand the value of using tools like LinkedIn to help us grow our professional presence in the marketplace. And so when I ran into Rhonda, she identified herself as a LinkedIn expert. I was instantly intrigued, and subsequently have been completely impressed with both her ideas in LinkedIn and just general resource of knowledge in great marketing ideas and things that we need to do in our industry or in any industry to keep ourselves fresh, to get to change the dynamic of our business and help us increase our reach out there in the marketplace. So it's been a great accidental meeting, but one that was enhanced by our ability to connect on LinkedIn and use that tool to help. So thank you.
And one of the things that really impressed me about Jay is that he really understood the importance of LinkedIn and why it's so important. Because for those people that have profiles, and there are so many people that do have profiles, but they have no idea what to do with them. They have mailboxes that sit with hundreds of invitations sometimes that they don't pay attention to. And what Jay really was present to was the fact that when somebody Googled his name, his LinkedIn profile was going to show up. And that was pretty much the first impression that people are going to have. And the credibility that goes with that is critical. Whether it's for Jay as a branch manager that's recruiting other loan officers, or it's a client that might look at, let's see the whole branch, let's look at who they are, and looking at that profile, it's an opportunity to have a platform that, when ignored, is actually a way that you'll be losing a lot of business. Jay, would you agree with that?
Completely. I mean, really, the way I look at this is the difference between the amount of business you're doing today, if you're a professional in your industry and you know what you're doing, the difference between the business you're doing today and the business you want to do in the future is the number of people who are aware of you and increasing your LinkedIn presence and profile is a way to help supplement all your other marketing efforts to make that awareness out there.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think most people don't realize.
And I'm gonna,
jump in.
Rhonda, I'm gonna jump. Yep, I'm gonna jump in real quick just to let the audience know that this is a live interactive hangout. And if you have any questions for Jay or Rhonda throughout the hangout, be sure to ask those questions in our Q&A app, and we'll make sure that those get answered live on air.
Great. So I think maybe one of the things that we could do is actually just take a really quick look, Jay, with your permission, at just the beginning of your profile. Because if somebody were to Google you and your LinkedIn profile came up, a picture literally is worth 1,000 words. And so you just recently updated your picture, which I thought was amazing, because a person with a profile is 7 times more likely to actually get looked at and have someone stay on your profile than somebody who doesn't. So I'm just going to pull this up really quick and show you, show your profile up. Actually, this is your boss's profile that we're looking at there. We can come back to that. But I want to show this profile because I think it's just so important. So let's see. Okay.
And
is that showing up okay?
Yeah. I actually have it available. I will do a screen share and so that everyone can see his profile. All right.
So one of the things that you'll notice and under Jay's name is building the most successful team in mortgages. And that's what you do, Jay. You build teams. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So it has that you have the 500 plus, which is the magic number. And one of the things that also I want to show is you have posts, and that's another terrific platform with Pulse, so that you can actually say, we're growing, we're hiring. It's a way to get the word out. And then, and this is what we'll talk about, is your summary. So do you have that up, Scott, or is it mine that's up? I'm not even sure.
Mine is the one that is showing, and I can scroll down to the summary right now.
Okay, perfect. So in the summary, Jay, tell me a little bit tell our listeners on the Hangout, just a little bit about how you were able to convey who you are and what your message was. It doesn't matter that you didn't write it. You were the one that gave me the information to put it there. So let's talk about that for a little bit.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is that, you helped craft this whole LinkedIn thing, which was an incredible assistance to me. I mean, I think one of the hardest things we do is to find a way to present ourselves, and I frankly think that having a third party help do that makes a big difference. So what you were able to do was, ask me the questions about what I was hoping to achieve, and things that, you may or may not have even verbalized about your goals and what you feel you bring to the table. And by you pushing and probing on those questions, allowed us to synthesize that down and come up with a summary. And and obviously it's like a photograph of yourself. You'd love to retouch it. So you did the first draft, and you go through and say, hey, I think I want to work on it. But it was working with you to get the question and answer piece done. But again, it's so. But number one in this whole thing of utilizing LinkedIn that you really brought to my attention is that you've got to get your profile right, because that's the first step in utilizing this tool, is to make sure when people are doing their research on you, which you do on other people, we all do it, that the first thing that what they see is a representation of what you're really hoping to achieve. And so the summary piece starts out with that, because you realize you only have a limited amount of time to get anybody's attention. So it's important.
It does, as well as bringing creative awareness. It actually puts your personality into the picture, because people don't do business with companies; they do business with people.
Right.
So, in summary, what you convey, what the mission of the company is, who you are, what you do, and what your goals are, and why you're different than other people that do what you do. And most importantly, you have your contact information in there. And that means that if somebody who is not connected to you wants to reach out and actually pick up the phone and call you, your profile in the summary has your name, your address, your email, your phone number. And it's optimized so that people can find you with your areas of expertise. And that's pretty critical, Jay, and very much good foresight on your part in knowing that if that is there, people will continue to scroll down and look at the profile. So the essence of you shows up.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, as I say, again, the value of this tool is to, at least in my humble opinion, is to make sure people have as many ways to get to know you, but also be able to get in touch with you. Because at the end of the day, people don't do business with websites. They do business, well, I mean, they do, there's Amazon, but in a professional relationship type business, they need to know you, and this is a way to facilitate getting to know you. But if they can't do anything other than talk to your web page, it doesn't really facilitate that personal interaction, which is what's so needed, I think, to develop the deep type of relationships that we're talking about, that we need in our business.
Absolutely.
So Jay,
Sorry, go ahead.
I've got a question for you real quick, Jay. Since you've started working with Rhonda and you got your LinkedIn profile set up the way that you wanted it, do you now direct people to your LinkedIn profile or to your website when you meet people?
Interestingly enough, I do both, and it sort of depends on the target audience. If I run a branch, I don't do a lot of originations because my goal is to help my loan officers do more originations. But just, you're playing in that pool. Eventually, people come to you and want to do a loan. And sometimes it's more important for me to handle them personally than to pass that off to one of my teammates. But in that case, I would direct them to my work site. But if everything else, the LinkedIn thing, the LinkedIn place is where you send them. And by having that contact information, both cross on your business site and your other site, it helps because there's two things. There's one, what do I need to know about the company? What do I need to know about its business? And then what do I need to know about the person? And I think the person aspect, at least from a professional nature, is what LinkedIn is so good at expanding on.
Right. And Rhonda, I've got a question.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. You mentioned earlier the 500 connections on LinkedIn, that was the magic number.
500.
Would you explain why that is the magic number and what you get once you have over 500 people on LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn has a system where they rank you, and if you've done a profile, you'll see it'll tell you that it's a certain amount of a percentage done. The goal is that you want to get to what's called an all-star, which basically says your profile is 100% done. One of the criteria that is part of that is the 501 connections. Because what you'll see if you look on Jay's profile, my profile, just many of them, it'll say 500 plus. They might just have 501. That's fine because nobody knows who that is. And the other thing, I want to go back to Jay's point of when people go to his website and people go to his LinkedIn profile. Jay is somebody who I'm sure is like many people out there that wear more than one hat. He's a branch manager who does do loans for people that come to him. They ask him to do them. And so if his profile and his summary was more geared towards what he did as a loan officer, his credibility as a branch manager wouldn't show up. So by sending him to his website, that's one way to do it. Another way that you could also do that is under the section called projects, because that's where you can actually put other things that you do. So both ways work, and we can even pull up a profile of somebody that works with Jay within the bank home loan system, and you can see the difference in the profile of how somebody that does loans is going to be very different than a branch manager who is primarily a trainer and not somebody that does production. Would you agree with that, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, again, my focus is, my day job is to help other loan officers create and grow more business, and part of that is recruiting, some of that is helping them utilize tools like LinkedIn to help them grow their business. And So, that's, as I say, that's my day job. But, occasionally you stumble across loans that it's better that you handle for any number of reasons. So that's another aspect of what I do. Yes.
So let's talk about that for a second. And with your permission, let's pull up one of the profiles of your loan officers. Scott, do you want to do that, or do you want me to do that?
I will work on that right now. Why don't you go
Mike?
ahead and
Okay,
start,
so
and I will pull it up.
okay, so look at Mike, and it's Olmert. Is that right,
Yes.
Jay? Okay.
Yes.
So Mike is a loan officer that works in bank home loans, and one of the things that you would hope, Jay, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, is that he's going to use LinkedIn as a tool, number one, to establish credibility, but number two, he's going to use it to create relationships with realtors, with estate planning attorneys, to keep in touch with his previous clients, with alumni, to really broaden the sphere of relationships that he has and to stay top of mind with them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. As I say, going back to my initial point, you want to increase the number of people that are aware of what you do, and tapping into all your referral sources and partners and other industry partners, but past clients is an amazing way to, and an often overlooked way to
Exactly.
grow your business, because people are comfortable referring business to people that they trust and had good success with. The challenge that we all uh, experience in a lot of cases is we do not adequately keep top of mind with those people, keep in touch in ways that allow us to not be intrusive in their day, but remain in their consciousness. So when they think of someone that might need our help professionally, that then they say, hey, you should try Mike. He's a great guy. He did good things for me.
So tell us specifically, Jay, what are some of the ways that you share the content, and talk about the content that you're actually sharing to stay top of mind?
Well, it depends again on your audience. Personally, I share stuff as it relates to, some things that the company's doing to grow their business. What a loan officer could share with is, you know, some of their other agents' listings, in things that point out what they are. They're finance experts. So, is by reinforcing and to be a finance expert, you need to stay in touch with what's going on in the industry and in the economic situation at large. So when you see things that are relevant and make sense, there's no formula, right? The point about this is to take it out of a formula. The point of this is to find stuff that personally resonates with you, that you think will resonate with people you already have a connection with. And so it's then sharing that type of information and on a consistent basis. Rhonda educated, my group on the importance of spending 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. It's the consistency. It's not sitting behind your computer and not interacting with people. It's consistently going through and being conscious of what you're putting out there for people to see, and just, as I say, to help keep top of mind. But if you're things that are interesting to you on a professional nature will probably be interested to people you've connected with.
And for share that one of the tools is using messaging vectors. After you've connected with those people, you can actually send lots of them to see, came across this article, here's the link, thought you might find this really helpful for your business. So again, you're positioning yourself as a resource. And the other might be, you've either published yourself or you found articles on Pulse that you think would be interesting, and you can share those. And then finally, a lot of people are very confused about endorsements. And what comes up are the endorsements, and people just click, 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 they're endorsing for skills, but they really don't even have a system for doing that. But if the goal is to stay top of mind, then you have that list of 20 or 30 people that you're going to endorse every day for something else. And when you get that notice that you've been endorsed, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about Jay for a while. And it's going to cause them to go over to your profile. So staying top of mind can happen in a number of ways. And LinkedIn is an excellent resource to use the messaging feature to be able to publish your articles, to become active in groups, for example, many, many different ways, or even to give a recommendation, because a lot of times we do business with our own clients. Would you agree, Jay, that that's true?
Yeah, exactly.
So it might be, your own doctor or dentist that you've done a loan for, or it might be somebody in your community that does loans and they're looking for a change and they come over to you to explore the possibility of coming to work with you. And what LinkedIn does is it gives you an opportunity to showcase your expertise, to showcase your testimonials, your background, everything that is about you, and to stay in touch on another level, because email sometimes just gets lost. But a LinkedIn message, for people that are actually paying attention, it gets their attention.
Right, it does.
Yeah, and Jay, I really appreciate you focusing on the consistency of staying in touch with your database. And Rhonda, you mentioned it just a little bit about having 25 or 30 clients that you want to stay in touch with and want to stay in front of, and you said that you would endorse them every single day. Do you want to endorse all 30 every single day, or do you have a rotation?
So here's a little tip. You'll look on most people's profiles, and you can even pull up mine, and I'll show you as an example, if you want to pull mine up, Scott. And what you'll find is that there are over 50 categories that you can be endorsed in. Now, we only really want to be endorsed in about 12 to 15 at most, because how can you be a master at 50 things? You really can't. So most people don't realize that that's how many you should have. They have everything. And you, again, talk about numbers. The goal is you want to get to 99 plus in every category. So if you have that list of, let's say, 20 people, and maybe those 20 people are 20 real estate agents, or they're a combination of real estate agents and estate planning attorneys and other loan officers that you want to stay top of mind with, Jay, because at some point they may want to come over to your bank to work. All you're going to do is go to right where you see, does Rhonda have these skills? And every day you're just going to endorse for one thing. So you might endorse me today for marketing, and once a week. I'm sorry, not every day. And then next week, okay, you're going to endorse me for leadership or public speaking. So what happens is I'll get a notice that I've been endorsed, and that's going to cause me to say, wow, this person's really thinking about me. I'm going to go look at their profile. And again, looking at the profile and seeing what that person does, to me, it's like, oh, who can I put that person together with? How can I be a resource and a source of introductions? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. One of the things most people want to do is to be helpful. If you start off and you come from a place of wanting to help others, you end up at a place where people are wanting to help you too. And so by looking at these things and having ideas and sharing them out, you're creating that circle that you're really looking to achieve. Because a partnership is exactly that. You're actually, you're not just selling them, and if you are, you're not really great, at what you do.
Yeah. Well, nobody wants to be sold. And the other thing that's interesting is not to become complacent, and I know that's something that you don't do at all, and that's something that nobody in your branch does, and that is I have a rule that I like to use, which is called 10 before 10. And what that means is I actually will go through LinkedIn, because LinkedIn tells you, they suggest people that you should be reaching out to, or I start looking at other people and who they know, and I reach out and I'll do 5 connections every day, and I'll make 5 phone calls. So the connection requests are always personalized. It's always going to say something like, I came across your profile, I noticed that we both share an interest we're in the same groups, we both know whoever, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn, best regards. So I've sent out those 5. Now I usually take it one step further, and I know, Jay, this is something that you may do, or you may encourage your loan officers to do. And that is, to get a phone call answered, is to go on LinkedIn and actually pick up the phone and say, Hey Jay, this is Rhonda. And pretend we don't know each other. I came across your profile on LinkedIn, and the first thing I want to tell you is I'm not selling anything because that's what most people are so afraid of. They're going to be sold. And the reason I'm calling is I know somebody that I think might be a good resource for you, and I'd like to make an introduction. And it might be something as simple as I knew a photographer who was working with people in the mortgage industry and was doing headshots, and I didn't know if you had somebody, that was actually doing that for you, or you might want to take advantage of somebody that actually does amazing work and isn't, overpriced, so that you could give that to your loan officers as a resource. And so all I'm doing is the intermediary, and because I'm coming in suggesting to you that I have a great resource for you, you're going to think of me in other ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. Well, and then again, once you learn some of these LinkedIn tools, you can take that and become a resource out to your other professional business partners. If it's in the case of a loan officer, or teaching realtors how to go about utilizing LinkedIn in the methods you've done. So you've become an expert to help them grow their business, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You were then truly giving them something back. And
Absolutely. And they're going to reciprocate because you've given them these tools that now they can go out and get more business. Well, where are they going to bring their loans? They're obviously going to bring them back to you because you're the one that gave them the skills to be able to go out and get more business.
right, exactly.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
And just to add to the point of really providing value and being helpful for your clients, when you were talking about content, Jay, one of the suggestions that we tell all of our clients at Viral is to put out content of questions that you are being asked by your clients. Because if your clients in your office are asking you those questions, then chances are the other people that are in your database want to hear those questions too. So just coming up with a list of frequently asked questions is a great place to start putting out the content that your database will want to hear.
That's an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
The other thing, too, which is so important about LinkedIn, is a great place, and Viral is really great at doing this, is a place to showcase what we like to call rich text media. You can put a SlideShare presentation right underneath your summary to educate people that are visiting about what it is that you do. You can actually put testimonials that are audio or video. And one of the things, which is my little secret that I like to do when I'm not using something professional like Viral, is we all have our smartphones with us. And when somebody compliments me on something that I've done, if I've done a workshop or I've just helped somebody with their profile because they needed it, and that's even happened in Starbucks. Somebody will come up to me, they'll see me working on a profile, and they'll ask a question, and I'll just show them a couple of little tweaks, and they'll say something. And I literally take out my phone, and humor is always the old expression, funny is money is funny. So I take out my iPhone and I say, you know what, my kids never say anything nice about me. Would you mind just recording that? And I'll put it on my LinkedIn profile, and I'll actually, if you want to give me a business card, I'll put who you are, and it'll drive people to you on your profile. So even if you're not going to do anything, very professional, which I recommend that you do, take your phone, and every time somebody compliments you on your work or what you've done, memorialize that with an audio or a video.
That's a great idea.
It works. It really, truly does work. And again, it enhances the credibility of you on LinkedIn. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's the 30 minutes, guys. Thank you so much. Before we go, Jay, would you like to tell everybody how they may be able to reach out to you and get in contact with you if they have any questions?
Yeah, feel free to give me a call at 619-376-4694, or check out my LinkedIn profile, Jay Talbert on LinkedIn, or my email address is jay.talbert@bankhomeloans.com.
Great. And Rhonda, how would you like people to get in contact with you if they have any questions?
Basically, it's the same thing, and I'll give you a suggestion because I know, Jay, you've done this and it just didn't come across correctly, but it's always taking your URL for LinkedIn. So it's https:// and then it's just www.linkedin.com/, and for me, it's Rhonda L. Scher, and for you, it would be Jay Talbert. So if you want to reach out to me, I encourage you to just connect, send a personal invitation to me, and just say you saw me on the Hangout, and I'm happy to connect with you. You can also reach me at 760-515-2822, or LinkedIndiva@gmail.com works. Any of those ways will work. But remember to actually take your LinkedIn URL and put it in your signature on your visitor's card and everywhere that you go, because it will automatically direct people to your LinkedIn profile where you're going to have all those amazing things we just talked about.
All right, great. So I just want to thank everybody that joined us and watched live. Thanks for showing up, and we will have another one of these next month, so be sure to join us on our next episode of the LinkedIn Champion with Rhonda. Jay, thanks for joining us today and sharing that information, and have a great day.
Great. Thanks so much, and thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Okay.